Cool, today we're going to talk about scripting in Haskell. Yes, I'm a boring person, I keep talking about scripting. But today we're going to take a look at the script that I use to cross-post the blog post that I have on my blog to dev.to. Okay, so as you can see, the script is named todev2.hs. And if we try to call it without passing any arguments, we see that we are missing a couple of them. Now, as we have seen in previous videos, we are using optparse applicative to handle command line arguments. So we know we can call it with --help to see a better summary of the script. So we do it here. And we can see that the way to use the script is to pass two arguments. One is API key and the other one is post. And down here below, well, there's some explanation here, doesn't really matter. There's the available options down here below, where we see that the API key is the API key to post to dev2, and post is the path to the blog post to post on dev2, which is, in other words, the path on the disk to the blog post we want to cross-post. Okay, so as always, we're using a stack script. And here I'm showing the packages that we're using and the language extensions that are enabled. It doesn't really matter, I just wanted to set the stage. You can go in the description and take a look at the link to see the entire script altogether to be able to see the details. Let's take a look at the data structure. So the first one is front, which is representing the front matter of the blog post, which is the top part of the blog post where we have all of the metadata. So this is what we are going to extract from the blog post we're going to pass as a command line argument. Title, description, tags, and cover image. Notice that cover image could be missing. Then we have dev post, which is what we're going to be sending to the dev.to API endpoint so that we can cross-post the blog post. And here we're going to be sending title, description, and tags and cover image that we can imagine are coming out of the blog post. And then there's a few additional fields. The canonical URL, which is the URL to the blog post on my blog. So since I'm cross-posting, I can have dev.to pointing to my blog post. Crawlers know who is the canonical source of the blog post. The published flag, which we set to false so that we have a chance to take a look at the blog post before we publish it on dev.to. And the body markdown, which is the content of the blog post we're cross-posting. Okay, so we need to send a value of type devPost to the dev.to endpoint. So we need to have an instance of toJSON for the type so that we can serialize it. Now, we're using record wildcards here so that we are getting access to all of the field inside of the record. And here we say that when we need to serialize a value of type devPost, we create a JSON object with a root key article. And article is going to be an object which has the following keys that are filled with these values here. Here we have the main function of the script. As always, I pretty much copied this entire thing out of optparse applicative. The README is awesome, so take a look at that. The idea is that we define some strings that are going to be used in the summary of the script. For example, when we call it with --help. Then we need to say how we're going to be parsing our command line arguments, which are going to be parsed into a tuple text. And those text are going to be the first one, the API key, which is a string. And the second one is the post path on the disk, which again is a string. We put that into a tuple, which then is parsed here. We then call crosspost by doing unquery here, which means we call crosspost with 2 arguments. The first argument is the first element of the tuple, and the second argument is the second element of the tuple. Okay, so here we have the core of the script, which is the function that pretty much does the crossposting. So the idea is that we go and read the blog post that is found at the path that was passed in from the command line. Then we try to parse the front matter. This is out of a package. I don't remember the name. Whatever. In any case, if the parsing succeeds, we get the content of the blog post as a byte string and the front matter parsed as the front data type that we defined above. Here what we do is that we pretty much prepare the JSON to be sent by calling to JSON, which in turn uses the JSON instance of DevPost on this DevPost that we build out of the path to the post, the front matter, and the post content. Down here, some lenses, because I'm using WREC, just because I felt like doing some cowboy coding. Doesn't really matter. The idea is that we just pass the API key in the header, and we also specify the content type in another header. And then we do a post using those options defined here above to this endpoint here, and we pass the JSON. And of course, here we use another lens, but whatever. We just print to the command line what was the response status, just to have a feedback of what happened. Finally, here we can take a look at what we are specifically sending as a dev post. As we've seen above, we are creating a dev post using the path to the blog post on the disk, whatever was parsed in the front matter, and the content of the post. You can take a look here. There's nothing incredibly interesting. We add to the post some content saying that the post was actually posted originally on odone.io. And there's not really many interesting things here, I guess. So feel free to take a look, but this is just implementation details. Awesome, we have yet another script in Haskell. We're getting closer and closer to conquer the world from the command line with Haskell. If you have any feedback, please let me know. It's really important to me. And also, thank you to all of the subscribers. I really appreciate the support and it keeps me going. So keep it up. I'll see you next time.